Morning. Just on the opponent this week, feels good to kind of finally be out of camp mode and into opponent prep. And yesterday was kind of a typical Monday practice and an opponent week for us, and this is a Tuesday practice. But really excited about where the guys are, the direction they're going. Obviously, we got a long ways to go and moving forward, and a lot of preparation to do. And just learning how to prepare and how to attack an opponent as far as the game plan and learning the game plan and some tweaks there. And going through the process of there and just getting into that schedule and out of the camp schedule. So that's kind of been our main focus this week, and it's been all about our opponent. And although we make it about our opponent and preparing for those guys, we also make it about ourselves and making sure our motivation, our energy comes from within ourselves, and that's what we make it about at the end of the day, because that's who matters, is what the energy we bring, the effort we bring, the execution we bring to game day.
How do you feel like the scouts have done, providing the look early?
I was just talking about that and just talking to the team, and you always, early on in camp or early on in the season, you try to find somebody to, point out, but it wasn't hard to find a couple of guys to point out. Eddie's over there playing running back for us, Eddie Love, and just a little scat back. I think he's very similar to Hollywood, their tailback. He's just a younger kid, probably a younger version. And, their kid's obviously very talented, but I think Eddie is doing a good job trying to simulate that as well and doing some good things in there with his cuts. And then Johnny Williams, kind of a local guy from Havelock here, came up to me and he's like, hey, I'm just going to try to give you the guys the best look and make you better. And if they will do that, if they'll have that mindset, like I'm going to make the offense better or defense better every single day, in return, it will make them a better player over time. And I think, sometimes when you're a young guy, you don't realize you're going against a really good defense or a really good offense and older players, and that can help develop your game and develop your skill set and eventually make you a better football player. So, it's early right now, but I haven't seen anybody hanging their heads, and that's awesome that they've all got that team mentality, team mindset, that we're going to do this thing together. So, proud of those guys for that attitude.
How does this week differ from next week when you start?
Really, you got a little bit of a trial run this week as far as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or kind of like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practice for us, and then we'll at some point, repeat and rinse and repeat and go through the same cycle again. So you're kind of getting 2 Tuesday practices, 2 Wednesday practices, so on and so forth. And our heavy work is this week and this weekend, and then we'll kind of start to pull back as far as take off maybe some pads and do some things there, and make sure we're saving their legs. So we want to be fast and fresh for game day on the 28th. And make sure we're ready to go. So we did a little bit of extra conditioning there at the end of practice today. And I don't like doing conditioning where you just run up and run. I'd rather do it in a game setting mode, and that goes back to probably me as a high school basketball player, believe it or not. I wasn't a post guy, but I was a point guard. But our conditioning came from just playing up and down the court, and that's what I want our stuff to be out there. Is hey, we're playing up and down the field and just doing some tempo drills and offense versus defense up and down the field, and we'll continue to do that this week to make sure we're ready for a long drive and make sure we're in the best shape we can be in for the 28th.
What do you anticipate the biggest difference being in NC State from last year to this year?
The thing we piped in the practice today was the crowd noise, and just you're in Annapolis, it's a crowd where we might have had the edge there, and I thought our fans were awesome on that day, and give all the credit to our fans. They brought the energy, and I thought that fit over into our team. And then you're going into their house this season, and it's going to be a loud environment, and it should be. You got two schools fairly close to each other, and a game that was the last game of the season and kicking off the first game of this season. So I'm sure it'll be a packed house, but we just piped in some of that crowd noise to kind of simulate that and try to be prepared for that. The game, at some point, you got to put the ball down, you got to block, you got to tackle, you got to do all the things fundamentally to win a football game. Take care of the football, take the ball away, get third down stops, get third down conversions, all those things to help you win a game. So those won't change. Obviously there's going to be some different personnels. They got 2 different coordinators, so those things will be slightly different. But I think the biggest change, if you're talking about from December to now, will be the fact it's in their stadium with their crowd noise. So we got to know how to handle that. And like I told our players in practice, the crowd noise is just a factor of the game. We got to control what we do, and that'll help take care of the crowd noise as well.
Now that you're in game mode, what steps do you want to see your team make?
Well, the biggest thing I told them, speaking of game mode, is like, hey, don't mistake in my game mode for me getting uptight. I said, I'm still going to be loose. I'm still going to have fun. We're still going to go, let it ride here. But, the biggest steps and when you're just getting a game week is just your preparation for your opponent. Sometimes when you're going in camp or spring ball against your same opponent every day, which is yourself, you don't really have to study what the other side of the ball is going to do. Now all of a sudden you have an opponent, you got to start cramming for that test. It's in a week where we don't have classes yet. I told our players, and in the world of humans, we like to procrastinate and wait till the last minute to study for the test. I said we got to start studying and really jam it all in now. That way, when class starts next week, we're not behind the 8 ball there. And we can focus on that as well. So that's the biggest piece. It's just a focus on what our opponent could do. Obviously, game one, it doesn't matter, what year it is. If it's new coordinators or new coaches or same coordinator, same coaches, same quarterback, you don't know exactly what you're getting. You're going to get a wrinkle or two. So you go out and prepare for kind of everything. Sometimes you're chasing a little bit of ghost of, hey, this is what could happen or what they could do. But you want to be over-prepared for all situations and all circumstances. So, those are things that you just want to make sure we're over-prepared, but at the same time, don't slow your guys down. I think I heard Brent Key talking about his football team yesterday. He didn't care if they ran 2 plays, but he wanted to be executed, and they want to play fast and physical. And it's really the same thought of any game one. I think for everybody across the country is, hey, if you go play the game the right way, and that's fast, that's physical, that's with great energy, you'll have a chance to win the football game.
High school football kicks off Friday night.
Yeah.
How important are those coaches and the relationships there, and do you have a message for those guys?
Yeah, I started out as a high school teacher, actually a middle school teacher. For all the middle school teachers out there, God bless you. It was old junior high where I was at, but it started out as a high school teacher. Did that 4 or 5 years. I actually thought I would just be a head high school coach, and then had an opportunity to get into college. But those people are so special to not only our students across North Carolina, but also our student athletes, and just how the high school football can bring communities together. And just growing up as a young boy in this state, a young man in this state, just realizing that the town, the communities, they rally around high school football on Friday nights, and it's no different in Eastern North Carolina than it was in Western North Carolina. And it holds communities together and gives us something to be proud of. And just a shout out to the people that make that happen, from the coaches to the players to the principals to the people selling tickets. And what an awesome experience for those young men, but also for the communities. Appreciate what you guys do. Best of luck this Friday night to all the teams out there. I'm sure it's an exciting season. Look forward to watching it and keeping up with it through the season.
Coach, you started this offseason obviously putting together your own staff in many ways, and the vision, you guys are working out yourself from kickoff. How proud are you of the staff? It seems like it's running pretty cleanly out there.
I've been on the other side of this thing a lot more than I've been standing behind this podium. And, at the end of the day, you just want to work for good people. And people that are going to treat people the right way, respect each other, work their tails off, care about kids, and serve. Serve others. And we have a staff that does that serve each other, cares about others more than themselves. And you can tell that in their personal lives, from being dads to being husbands, whatever it may be. And it carries over to our team. And just really proud of the men they are, and the women in our building as well. I mean, we have men and women in our building that work their tails off for each other and for this program, and that puts ECU and ECU football first. So just really proud of that mindset, because I know if they'll do that, our players will do that. And I think that's something we can all be proud of.
Anything else? Thank you, Coach.
You guys are easy. I appreciate you.